self, and
Yeah.
but you're to understand that self is more than just this body. It is part of the flow of all energy, really. Like, you are a part of the entire universe, and having faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. And
Something else
that's exactly
that I was
yeah go
something else that I was thinking today, about how we can use our belief in these things to make them happen. Something that I was thinking about, old Russian experiments. You know how the Russians, they like to experiment with telekinesis, telepathy, and all that stuff. You see old experiments of children in these places going through these kind of experiments. Why do they use children? Because their minds have not been polluted with the impossible yet, so they can't do those things.
yeah
You understand?
yeah it's their intuition.
Exactly. It's still under control, and they still can use it. They don't know that they can't do those things yet.
Yes, and I loved what you're saying about, and because I believe the same thing, why we're taught about gravity and the whole, I really think the core of why we're told the earth is a ball, a globe, is to disconnect you from your higher self. Like, that is where everything starts, is this lie right here, that the earth is a ball. That's
The
where
whole theory, the whole theory is completely materialistic. They deny any kind of supernatural, any kind of um, unexplainable
it
phenomenon.
wants
They
to
can't.
disconnect us from that connection to our creator. Like, that is
Exactly.
the push. They want us to have zero connection to nature, to God, to energy, to the natural. They want everything artificial, everything replaced with AI, artificial. That's the real, I think. There's a synthetic counter force, is the force we are against. There's like a counter force of the natural order, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, because once everything is fake and synthetic, you can't learn from it. I think it was Victor Schopenhauer said, observe and learn from nature. But once nature is gone, you can't learn new things anymore. You can't understand how things work anymore.
And then we're disconnected from God, disconnected from nature, from source, from creation. And so many people are already raised in captivity. You know what I mean? So many people have never been outside of these population centers, these concrete jungles. They've never really connected to source. And it's a shit. Like, that's really what's going on. We've been raised in captivity.
Yeah.
Stop.
And once we reach this kind of mindset that we're on right now, one of the first things we think about is, I want to buy a patch of land somewhere and live off grid completely. That's why people like us are kind of dangerous to the system, because if those kind of things get into the mind of the general population, the system will break down. So they can't
Exactly.
have people thinking these things.
Exactly. And like, that's what's craziest to me, that I keep trying to preach to everyone, is like, stop participating in the systems and the system falls apart. Like, that's, if we stop participating in the set, like, well, first they want to fear us, my mouth, sorry. They want to fill us up with fear, to think that, like, this is why they put all these movies out. They want us to think that if we don't have someone in the shadows pulling the strings, our world will turn into chaos, and that people are bad innately. And that's where you guys have to wake up, is that humans are good. We are good. The only thing that is wrong is the mass confusion, and there's an intent, people intentionally pitting us against each other. But if it would be so easy for us to stop participating in their systems and start just living in our own sovereign energy, not having to rely on someone, to these shadow figures, to control our lives. We're past that.
Exactly. Stop giving your belief to somebody else. Stop thinking that somebody else's opinion is greater than your own intuition. It's ridiculous. That's not how it works. We're born knowing a lot of things, and then we unlearn those things through the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the whole process goes through. So once you're an adult, you don't question them anymore because you never see anybody questioning them because they've all been indoctrinated in the same kind of way. But once you don't need to know those things, then you start to question them, and that's when the whole thing starts to break apart.
Exactly. And yeah, I was curious, what was there anything you said you had some stuff you wanted to talk about? I'm curious, anything you want to talk about? I'm all for.
Yeah. The I've been going to kind of these things through the last maybe 3 to 4 years, because that's something that's really caught my attention in the Bible, that says in it we will do greater things, and we're not seeing any of that going on, And as a Christian, I even wrote a text these few days. I said, I think I told you, I can't even call myself a Christian unless I start doing those things. I'm lying to myself.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of Christian am I? If I believe in Jesus and he said I could, and I'm not, so I'm denying.
Yeah.
So that's something that's always been at the back of my mind. I want to go to those things. We're not just people have to realize that why is the Bible so persecuted through all this time? Because it's an extremely powerful book. It's not just a book on religion, on how to preach people. There's actual power in those things. Why did authorities want to burn those books? Why did they want to ban that book? Just because it teaches people to be good? Really? That's the threat? That's it, the system will go through if they let the Bible alone? No, it's because it teaches you how to use everything that Jesus did.
Yeah. Well, it teaches you, it gives you, and that's what frustrates me so much, is like Jesus is giving you a complete guide on how to unlock your higher potential. And we're
Exactly.
not
Look,
doing it's a
ignore the whole philosophical religious aspect of the Bible and just approach it as, let's say, a hermetic book, a book on this kind of things, like superpowers or whatever. Approach it in that way, because the Bible, it's amazing. The way you approach it, it's the way it will reveal itself to you. So if you approach it as a hermetic magic book, that's what you will learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it will depend completely on your belief.
And everything depends completely on your belief. What you believe to be true is true. All right.
Exactly. Like the globe. Why does the globe exist? Because the majority believe in it. It's not real, but it exists because of people's beliefs.
It exists in the minds of the collective consciousness. And until we defeat bad ideas with better ideas. And that's what people have to understand, is like why all this matters, why creation matters, is because the goodness of it, the true story, the truth of you exist for a reason. You're not just a speck of dust. All right. You are the center of the universe to you for a reason. Live that way. Okay.
People are expecting so little from life nowadays. It's kind of so disappointing because they've been hammered down exactly that they are worthless specks of dust. So my job is just to push through life.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea of their potential because that's not what the system teaches them. That's not what they learn, because everything that's going on, the poisonous food, poisonous air, they teach you, nonsense in school, it's just all over the place, and people just can't take that anymore.
Exactly. I mean, that's the nature of reality too, is like these counter forces. Is like, I think a lot of people, I got to be careful what I say with some of the stuff, the big C happening. I think I'm thankful every day they had to roll out this whole thing for a reason, to prevent something in us. Like the 6 feet apart, I keep harping on this, like just happens to be like keeping us out of each other's electromagnetic fields, out of each other's energy. Like all this, they're always going to be on, the forces of evil are always going to be on the back foot, and their plans will always fall apart, and we'll always be able to come out on top.
Yeah, they have some notion of what's going to happen futurely, so they try to prevent. They create like a backup plan to try to deal with the situation because they know it's going to eventually going to come out. So they create a response to that automatically.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, both sides, they have the counter response. They, on everything they do, they control both sides. They have two sides. Like, so the American political system, the left and the right, those are two arms of the same body. Everything works this way, guys. They create the opposition and the counter opposition, and they're both part of the same body. Because anything, they're part of the mainstream. They are just giving, it's all theater. It's all theater. They're actors, and these people have energies that are pushing them forward that are not working for humanity, is what I'll say.
It's completely ego motivated. You know, I gave up on politics as soon as the whole flat earth thing came into my mind because I had dealt with a lot of politics. You know, here in Brazil, it's the communism's taken over. I was like, it doesn't matter anymore. I just figured something huge, and then I embraced the whole flat earth thing and just exploded. You know, like I told you, it just took over the whole internet here because I gave up on politics completely. It's just it's nonsense. It doesn't matter anymore.
This is why I push the flat earth so much, though, too, because it frees you once you understand that, like, the earth is the center of the universe. There is a creator, and you're part of a symphony, this energetic symphony where everything is interconnected. I don't know, man. I was an atheist for most of my, like, until I was 30 years old. I was an atheist, and my life was miserable. My life was awful until I had that connection, until I woke up to the truth, till I found out that the earth is flat and it's stationary and it's in the middle of the universe and there's a creator. And I've seen how everything connects, how energy connects all living things. And if people understand, like, I want that for everyone. I want everyone to have that, knowing that connection to the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know now the source. We know that the source exists. It's not random. You know, like you said, we're not here by chance. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody was put here to do something. But we've been completely disconnected from that reality. So people are just living their lives and just, you know, whatever. Nothing matters anymore. And I have a testimony from a guy here in Brazil. He also said that he was an atheist, but once he got to the point where he could not deny the earth was flat, that automatically took him to God because there is no other explanation for a design that complex. It cannot come from nowhere. It can't just be automatically generated. You know, somebody had to been responsible for that. There's no other explanation.
I mean, it's ridiculous to think spontaneous generation is like the best excuse we have for it. There's always, like, it's just insane. Once you, like, see past the illusions, the veils, you know, how you look at things retrospectively and you're just confused how you ever bought into the fairy tales you're told.
It's amazing. I talked to some people. People still go on the page and try to debate. I'm like, was I ever like that? Oh my God. You know, it's like you're living in a completely different reality. You don't understand how people are still falling for some of these things. It's like, that's amazing.
That's another one I'm glad you brought up, because I remember being that person. I had yelling at someone for believing in a flat earth, being possessed. And I'll say I was possessed. What caused me to speak out against those people was I had negative energies attached to me that forced me, it collided with my worldview, my illusions. And
exactly. It wasn't, you weren't motivated by logic. You were motivated by emotion and something spiritual, because it was a truth that your spirit was trying to access, but your body was denying.
Yep. It triggers you. And that's the same thing when I'm practicing telekinesis. It's the same thing that triggers people, because it's making you look at these hard truths that a lot of people aren't ready for.
Now that you mentioned, you know, like I said, I want to explore a lot of what's going on, because I, somebody, a Facebook friend, I think she shared a video of yours, and that's how I got to know you, learn about you. And
Yeah.
because we know that some of these things are really going on with people. So I wanted to, follow your work to see exactly how it's going to go. And I wasn't expecting to be speaking with you at all. I just expected to be just another random follower in your page. But, we got to talking. I was like, oh my God, I think there's something here going on,
Yeah.
Um, just because, like I said, it's been about 3 years that these things have been in the back of my mind, and I've never been able to speak with somebody. Well, sometimes you touch on the subject and you're just like, no, I don't think so, But
It's really hard.
it's really difficult to connect with somebody who is like you said, in the same frequency, kind of same vibration. You don't have to draw at them. You don't have to, take them by their hand. You just speak
Mhm.
something and they already know what you're talking about. It's amazing.
Well, it's amazing because it's magnetic too. Like I see it all the time. Like, had I not started putting this, I a year ago I would not be here because I'd be too afraid to put my videos out of me doing this stuff. I'd be too afraid. That's mind control. I would be too mind controlled to share my passion because I'd be afraid of what people would say about me. But
Yeah.
now I don't care. And look what I've attracted to me. I'm bringing people of like you said, same wavelength, same frequencies. I'm attracting these people, and now we're working on the people that are supposed to be on my path. I'm interacting with, and like it's obvious and it seems so simple, but it's so easy for us to convince ourselves that we're gonna fail and not to do it because it's not worth it. But it's so easy to just put one foot in front of the other and start doing whatever it is. You'll find the people you're supposed to.
You you got to stop being afraid. You cannot, like I said, you cannot let doubt come into your mind at all. That's the faith killer. Doubt, that's the power killer. You cannot ever believe that you cannot do that thing. It's not written anywhere that you can't do that. Anywhere, you know. um but people just deny because they don't see it happening. But I knew that these things were kind of possible, and now that I see that you're doing that, that itself gives me power. That strengthens my belief. So now, like Peter saw Jesus, and that was enough to convince him that he could, so he did. But once he started to
Exactly.
doubt, he sank. That's what happened.
And that's what, like, I need to post this video, but so like 1920s, no one had ever ran a sub 4 minute mile, right? No one's ever done it. Everyone said it's impossible. You can't do it. One guy trained and trained and trained, broke it, got under 4 minute mile. The next year, 20 other people ran a sub 4 minute mile. It wasn't that it was impossible, is that people believed it was impossible. Once you shift that collective, this is what I was telling you the other day, once we make that collective shift and we say, okay, this is possible, now we put our energy toward it more. How many people are going to be doing amazing things if we change your focus and change our intent and look at the world objectively? What is possible?
Like I said about the Freemasons, they can do a lot of these things, but they do them all under locked doors, so people can't see it. So that won't motivate them, so it's extremely dangerous for them to allow these things to be seen, because that itself gives people power.
And that's why you've been persecuted. That's even why a lot of people think it's black magic, or that's something I get a lot, is people think I'm doing black magic or dark magic, which is exactly the opposite of the truth. Like when you're working with chi, or it's just faith. That's that
Exactly.
connect.
You're not invoking some external entity, whatever you want to call it, to do those things for you. It's completely dependent on you. That's the difference.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And it's beautiful when you connect. Like, it makes you feel you're connecting to that source energy, the flow of life. You know what I mean? it's liver. That's my main meditation, is what I tell people. Like when I'm practicing, that's like how I remove, because when you're meditating, you're trying to get in a trance-like state and remove yourself from the equation. It's the same thing I'm doing here, and trying to let the energy teach me and guide me, and not trying to force my will onto anything. Just let things happen and let it. And that's how, back to, let yourself go into your childlike state, be a child, your childlike self. That's how you unlock your magic.
Exactly. Like I was like that Franz Barden book that I mentioned to you, that I suggested. That book, dude,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's 10 steps, 10 philosophical steps and 10 physical steps, but it will take your whole life to go through those 20 steps. That's how complex it is. And the first one is physical. It's meditation. It teaches you just let those things flow into your mind. And then the second step is try to lock something down, because once you like, and then finally empty your mind, because once you empty your mind, your body has no other choice but to believe whatever comes into it, because it has no other response. It has nothing else to deal with. That's why it's so hard to empty your mind.
Yeah. Wow. What book is that? I'm gonna type it in the chat.
Initiation into Hermetics. I got into the third step from that book, and then I just wandered off. I stopped doing it. But I was gaining some, like the amount of self-control and emotional control that I was gaining just from 20-minute meditation every day was just amazing. Because the way he explains it, it doesn't get any kind of of let's say philosophical aspect. It's just purely based on logic and physics. Even has, I had a notebook full of drawings of the kind of energy circulation, the magnetism in the body. It also talks about that, so it goes into a lot of detail.
Yeah.
Exactly what kind of things you're doing.
That's right up my alley, and that's my kind of book. I'll have to check that out.
That's why when I saw it, that book came into my mind. I was like, if I kept doing that, that's what I would be right now.
Yeah. And I've been looking at one of the books that helped. Okay, so when I first started telekinesis, well, I've tried before, and back when I was still a mind slave, before I had to I abruptly changed my life, quit my job, realized I couldn't work for the system anymore at all. And so I went on like a 9-day, I started fasting for like 9 days. So I always recommend fasting to everyone. That's like the greatest way to get back in touch with your intuition.
Exactly. Look, fasting. Well, two things. Jesus fasted for 40 days before he started doing those things. Mm-hmm. So that should tell you something. You get power from fasting. And second of all, it's like I said, empty your mind type of meditation. You empty your body. Exactly the same thing. Instead of emptying your mind, you're emptying your body. And the longer you can keep that up, the stronger the whole thing becomes.
I ate a couple days ago. I was on like a 5-day fast. I'm trying, what I'm doing right now is just like what I've been saying is like this Super Saiyan shaman training, just meditating and fasting as much as I can all day, every day, and just talking to people like you, and just trying to raise my, just going full in. This is what I did like a year ago when I started the practicing telekinesis, was just like fasting and meditating and practicing Tai Chi, telekinesis, whatever you want to go, and just go and follow in. So anyone who wants to join me, I try to go live. It's kind of been a mess because all my stuff has been failing. I used to go live on TikTok, but I'm pretty much shadow banned into oblivion over there. So, but I'm going to go live probably on YouTube and on here a lot, just like 3 times a day. Hopefully motivate people to start meditating and taking their journey serious. And another thing is the semen retention, and not like fasting is so much in so many ways, but so we should be, there's so many holes, spiritual holes we're always trying to stuff with material things, and a lot of it is intended, like the worst things for us. I'm gonna, what's like the number one thing on the internet and that's being pushed so much? The corn is destroying our brains. All right, that's like number one thing besides fasting is like quit watching the corn. You know what I mean? It is messing up the collective psyche so bad.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but like you said, we're getting shadow banned all over the place. My page is ridiculous. It's on a blacklist, probably in the top 10 most blacklisted pages. Mine is probably up there. But I believe it's something, we should keep doing these things regardless, because they try to do those things to demotivate us, to keep us, you're not getting any reach, so stop doing it. But we cannot.
Yeah.
That can't be a reason. And
It doesn't
and
stop.
something else.
Yeah.
Those people who are meant to know will find you. So don't ever stop. The system will not be able to block everybody. So they're creating a filter that's being extremely useful to us, because we know that who finds you was supposed to find you. So you know that he's in the right place.
Absolutely. And that is 100% true. That I feel that with my every fiber of my being. Like, I know the people that, I say this all the time actually, like only the people that are aligned with my highest self are allowed to, even in my circle, that are going to be allowed to find me and talk to me. So it's pretty cool when you are able to, once again, everything is belief. So the more powerful, the more you're able to see your world transform, your beliefs transform. I don't know, it's just pretty crazy when you start being the center of the universe really speaks to you from everywhere, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of a social type of law of attraction. If that's something that you put out, you'll get that result back. If you're a liar, that's what you're going to get in your life. People are just going to lie to you the whole time. So the more truth and the more genuine you are, that's the kind of thing that will come to you naturally. So
Yeah.
so it's a good thing that they are trying to keep us from speaking, because we know that those who hear us were meant to. So it's a good thing.
Exactly. And yeah, it's all, I mean, we're all, it's, it's a pressure. The more you try and oppress something, the more congregated that energy becomes, the more like you can't destroy that energy. The more you compress it, the more explosive it is. Like if you compress air it can become a bomb just by how compressed it comes. And that's what really,
Exactly.
yeah,
Two things that happen. If evil starts to dominate and take over, you can be sure that the pendulum is also swinging on both sides. Good is also reaching that same kind of strength. You just have to know how to access it and how to use it. But evil is not being superior, it's being equal. You just don't know what the other side is doing because you don't see it happening, but it's there.
I find it's true clients I get to do work for. So I'm trying to read some of the comments now. It's awesome. So many of you guys are in here. See if there's any questions. Okay, living of the word of God, feed us with his glory. Yeah. Yeah, Mindy, one of the mantras I repeat to myself every day is that, like, I am enough. I am who I am, and that is enough. I am who I am, and that is enough. Repeat that. At least I try to repeat that 3 times before I go to bed and first thing in the morning. I am who I am, and that is enough. So, like I said, like we've talked about, I think the biggest thing that we really don't have, there's nothing we're here to learn, but there's a lot now we have to unlearn. There's so much, there's all this, all these attachments, all these strings attached that are making us more dense and weighing us down. And we have to shed all those limiting beliefs so we can be more etheric, more light. And I think that's what it comes when you weigh your heart against the feather. The Egyptians, they say you weigh your heart against the feather, it's because that you have to practicing non-attachment. If you're too attached to the physical reality, remember, this is all just part of an evolution of your consciousness. This reality is not the end. This is just the beginning. So we gotta, all these self-limiting attachments, you have to let those go and weight the heart against the feather, really.
Something that I thought yesterday, you know, we're living in a third dimension, right? That would be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But once we go through past this phase, we go to the fourth dimension where there is no time, you know, because, you know, the heaven says that there's only the sun, there's only light, there is no darkness. So that's eternity.
Yeah.
So forgot where I was going.
The fourth dimension.
Yeah, but it's something about time. Oh my God, forgot what it was.
That's really whatever you're saying is
okay.
pretty much what
I'll think about it.
Is like time. That is the real enemy. Like you see the depictions of Kronos eating the children. It's because time, everything, the Ouroboros, the energy, it's the energy's got to die and be reborn over and over and over.
Everything is a circle. Everything goes in circles. You know, we see that everywhere.
We're stuck in the time matrix. But if there's no past, present, and future, and everything's just the now, there's just is, I guess.
Exactly.
And I think that.
And think about it. You know, if there is no yesterday and there's no tomorrow because you don't see the passage of time, everything becomes a constant now. How will you measure the difference between something happening now and 5 minutes from now? How will you measure that if there's no way to tell time?
That's what I was just talking about this with someone earlier today when they said the world's going to end, and I said I don't think the world's going to end. I think the time is going to end. It's the end of time.
Yeah, I think that's what I was getting at. You know, about the fourth dimension is that time stops working. Time becomes irrelevant. It doesn't exist anymore. That's why it's eternity.
And I actually think it was my belief that the dream world, your imagination, that's like the fourth dimension. And that
yes, exactly. Now that's something else that I was gonna say. That once we get to this to the next step spiritually, it becomes more real than what we think is real now. It becomes even we think that the physical is as real as it gets, but it gets even more. This right now will seem like the dream once you get to the next step.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly what I think. It's like it's more fluid. The fourth dimension is more fluid, and then it becomes more solid, and it's all part of this evolution of like positive, negative, manifest, unmanifest. The Vedas.
Exactly.
Study the Vedas.
This whole experience will seem like a dream once you get there. It's like, was I dreaming when I had those experiences? You know, because everything's so different now. It can't be the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why it's the DMT, the God molecule. It's all, like I was saying too the other day, I think when we had those mega trees, the giant trees, and people were, when people lived here with the giant trees and they were just more tuned and they were lucid dreaming this reality. This was more of a fourth dimensional state reality is what it, from what all my research from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I understand, you know,
magic.
If you reach that state of lucid, you know, once you start to thinking about what's going on right now, this is going to seem ridiculous. It's like, really, that's how they live? That's how things were back then? You know, that's stupid.
I think I do this thought experiment all the time because we always look back on the past and think how dumb people were in the past, but I don't think people are too close to their own narratives to see like how ridiculous it is. So ridiculous that there's mass starvation in the world and reality TV like cooking shows on at the same time. Like we have the means and the abilities to help everyone, and we literally just choose not to, and we believe it's because we're not capable of doing it. But that's a lie. That's a lie we tell ourselves. It's an illusion we believe. We can fix all these problems right now. We just are choosing not to.
It's ridiculous. You know, they're trying to tell us that they're going to grow potatoes in Mars. It's like there's people that don't have potatoes on Earth. You know, just try to solve that problem first, man.
Good. No. We gotta. It's insane. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how we just go. We just send all of our. It's like it's obvious like this narratives of what's going on in front before our eyes, guys. You don't have to even pay like anymore. You don't have to really be paying attention. It's obvious, so it's happening right before our eyes. I don't understand how anyone's feeding into the narrative still. Like, it's crazy.
I've gone completely. I just don't care about that things anymore. I don't watch the news. You know, the most I get from information is just on Facebook posts. Some asteroid's gonna hit on it. Like, yeah, well, whatever. Shut up. You know.
Yeah.
Because once everything that you watch on the news, if you watch the news every day, those things seep into your subconscious. You know, and that's you know, because every lie, every untruth that you believe is affecting you. It's keeping you from doing something. That's why they're telling you, because it's blocking your mind.
Yes, and that's how the Simpsons effect takes. The Simpsons don't predict the future, they program the future. They plant the seeds, and then we feed energy, and that energy
exactly
into our reality, guys.
Yeah, it's like a horoscope. They say, you know, something's gonna happen, so they plant that seed in the mind, and then that person thinks, you know, I'm a Capricorn, so yeah, that's gonna happen, and then it makes it happen. So they think, yeah, they were true. No, you did that.
And dark magic, I keep saying black magic, dark psychology, mind manipulation, that's black magic. You're changing the words you say, they cause people, it alters the way people filter their reality. All right. So when you're massive programming people, you're changing the projection of reality. That's the truth.
Yeah, something that I've paid a lot of attention to is especially in the English language, is words that sound the same but have different meanings. And one word that came into my attention was news. There's two kind of news. There's news and there's news. Exactly. So that's what those two things are coming to your mind when you say that word.
Good morning and morning and morning.
Morning. Exactly. It's basically witchcraft. It's sorcery. Those
It's
kind.
English is English. They built this language to cast spells on us to enslave our minds. So like it was all part of a plan.
Yeah. Rights, you know, the same word.
Yeah.
For spelling spells, you know. So it's full of double meanings, you know.
Yeah, and then you listen to people like Jordan Maxwell and the Admiralty Law and understand like they're using a whole book of spells to trap us with syntax, grammar, language.
They use a completely different law book, a completely different dictionary that we have. So that when they say something, we have no idea what they're actually talking about because their definition is not the same as ours. They're tricking us.
Black's Law Dictionary, guys.
Exactly, Black's Law Dictionary. And humans are called like monsters or something in the dictionary.
They'll say, look up monster, and then look up monster.
And it says human or something like that. It's stupid. It's amazing.
It is insane. Yeah, I mean, the world it's actually stranger than fiction, the world we live in. We just haven't been paying attention. I don't know how people aren't paying. Once you start paying attention, the world becomes way more magical, though. That's what's cool.
Well, something that's used for them is the whole randomness, like the universe is created randomly. Because if something is random, you cannot detect a pattern. Because an IQ test, it's based on what? Pattern recognition and intuition. Things that you were born with. You're not taught those things. That's why it's an intelligence test, you know. But once everything is random and you can't identify a pattern, that's how you become dumber. But once you start observing nature and the seasons, everything, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you become to understand the patterns, and that's how you gain knowledge.
Exactly, and that's why back to people being raised in captivity and having flawed logic, because they're taught a logic a flawed logic in schools and captivity, and they've never been in nature to see how to shatter the illusions. To them, that reality is real. They've never questioned it.
Yeah, cognitive dissonance is a real thing. Just like indoctrination, it's not funny words that like to use in post to say, I'm indoctrinated. These things are actually going on. Cognitive dissonance is actually going on. People are having these battles in their own minds that they don't know which side. They believe both, but they know that they contradict each other, so they don't know how to respond to that.
Someone said they can't. Can you guys hear me all right now? I'm gonna plug my phone in. Can you guys hear me all right? Like I said, I'm always having technical issues. I'm working on fixing it. But always something, I swear. Kids don't know where food comes from. Shit, I don't know where our food comes. Most of our food is plastic anymore. That's okay. Here's the thing that, like, I know we have these abilities. Why would they poison us from literally every angle if they're not trying to suppress something in us?
Poison and put so much heavy metals in us since birth. Why do they want to put so much metal in our bodies? Why? It's going to be used for something.
Yep.
We don't need that.
They put those metals to make us more dense. Once again, it's all about making us more dense. Then when we're more dense, our electromagnetic field is weaker. Our discernment is not, when we have less good discernment, and we're more easily controlled. It's all part of keeping our energy down so they can manipulate and control us.
Yeah, like the whole concept of wearing sneakers with rubber soles, that's just to completely disconnect you. Once you ground yourself, you understand, you can put a testing machine, you plug it into your body and into the ground, and you see how much energy is flowing through your body.
Absolutely.
Just touch the ground.
To that same point, I want to, like, there is nothing new under the sun, guys. Everything that exists has already existed and is just being re-rolled out. So everything in our society, like, here's one, like the airports. Airports exist. You have no idea how much infrastructure and how much crazy shit it took to get airports, like airplanes, to be the mode of travel. Like blowing up the Hindenburgs, they do stuff like this with everything that exists. They've kind of rolled out in a way to lead us toward, like, oh, this step, now we need artificial intelligence, and now we need to just get computer chips in our brains.
Why did they create the whole, like I said, the concept behind gravity? They invented gravity so people will block themselves from flying. Airplanes are basically the same thing. They take away our ability so they can sell it back to us as something else.
Yep.
Like homeopathy, these kind of things. They call it pseudoscience, but it's natural solutions that they're now calling it, nonsense.
Here's what I always have to say to people that call it pseudoscience too. Okay, look up the Amazon River, the Amazon rainforest. All right, that is a human-made garden. The whole Amazon rainforest. 60% of our pharmaceuticals come from that rainforest. All right. We're not the most advanced civilization to ever live here. See, those people that made that rainforest, they lived in a way that their medicine was part of their lives. They lived healthy. They didn't it's obvious, guys. We're not doing shit the smartest way.
Something I told my brother, a while back, I said, you look outside and then you see a billboard saying, our township has like 5 new hospitals. It's amazing. I'm like, that's exactly the opposite we should be doing.
Yeah.
You should be putting a billboard that says we have 0 hospitals because everybody's doing great.
Exactly.
You shouldn't brag about how many hospitals you have. That's ridiculous. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, we should be talking about why we should be taught, like, okay, people in prisons and people in hospitals, that is a symptom of society. If you have full hospitals and full prisons, that means you got issues in your society.
They call it health and justice, but it's exactly the opposite. It's people not knowing how to behave and people destroying their own selves. That's not a good thing. It's not a solution.
Absolutely. And we got to stop pretending like those. I don't know. Once we move past believing in these corrupt institutions and start putting our faith, we got to start bringing our faith back in ourselves and just
Like
emanating.
like something, you know, about, you know, like I said about the Bible, you know, Peter touched the guy and he healed the guy. Imagine if everybody learns how to do that. The whole, imagine how many trillions of dollars people are going to lose if you can just heal somebody by touching them.
And that's like, we're gonna unlock that shit. We're gonna bring down the matrix, teaching people how to heal themselves and others. Like, I believe that. I know that's a real thing that we can do, and we're gonna unlock that. There's no reason why not to. Like Jesus said, we're gonna do far greater things than him. So why should we not? Why would I hold myself to any less of a standard than that?
Exactly. The limit that we create our own limit. There is none. It's not written anywhere. Like I said, it's not written anywhere that we can't do everything. You know, even in schools, they teach little kids, you know, kind of a fantasy kind of thing. You know, you can be whatever you want when you grow up. You know, you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer. It's like, dude, I want to be more than that.
Yeah,